What if I told you you could get rid of your rack, all of your gear, all of your cables, have a pair of beautiful tower speakers, awesome floor standers sitting in your room, and get some of the best hi-fi audiophile sound that you have heard and not have to have any equipment sitting in between, running cables, worrying about RCAs or interconnects or XLR or single-ended or what DAC do I need? What's the flavor? What is my amp right? Is it going to pair well with this speaker? Is my preamplifier going to have all the connectivity and things that I want to it? Do I need a streamer? What app do I have? How is that streamer going to integrate with all of my other gear, my DACs, my preamps, my cables? I mean, all of this stuff. What if we could eliminate all of that and have some of the best sound, best soundstage, and best performance that I personally have heard for what I would call a budget? Let's get into it, talk about what it is. You're going to want to check this out. Stay tuned. Okay, so of course we're talking about the Dynaudio Focus 50 tower speakers. You can see one of them right behind me here. If you have been watching our Dynaudio series, we have ran through the Emmett 50 flagship towers, which are around $2,000, $2,500 a pair. We have ran through the EVOKE 50s, which are those guys right there. They come in at $5,500 a pair. And then we now have the Focus 50 at $11,000 a pair. Now, before you spit all your pop or your coffee out at that price tag, remember what we talked about earlier. The Focus 50 are a fully active speaker, chocked full with studio-grade amplifiers, DACs, all of this stuff built into this thing. So there is differences there that you need to be aware of. So one of the cool things that we had, Dynaudio reached out to us for this review because we did the Focus 50, and the challenge was to set $5,500 worth of gear with the $5,500 EVOKE 50s to cap our budget at $11,000 and see if we could better the active sealed Focus 50 towers, which are standalone active speakers. And we spent a lot of time with a lot of cool gear trying to get those EVOKE 50s to better the Focus 50s. And we're going to do a full review on that. But today, we're just going to get into this Focus 50 and talk about that speaker and what our experience with it was, what the benefits were, and just some of the overall things that you can think about when you go to an active speaker, some of the pros and the cons. So we're going to get into it, but let's check it out, the Dynaudio Focus 50. All right, nice outriggers as usual, beautiful high gloss cabinet, that nice proprietary driver that they use just in all of their speakers, nice mid-range, that beautiful soft dome tweeter with that waveguide and the helix system behind it. Just a stunning tower speaker. The back, you can see this is where all your inputs and outputs are, where it houses all of your amplifiers and DACs and streamers, things of that nature. Again, just a beautiful high gloss finish. You can see the reflection, nice cabinetry. You give this thing the knock test and it is dense. They put some work in here. Again, just the back plate where you could actually open that up and see all of the components inside. Okay, and here's a look at the back panel, getting a little bit deeper. You've got all your pairing options there for your speaker, your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi connectivity. You've got a coaxial in and out, a service port here, your line, your analog basically there, left and right. You've got a subwoofer out. You've got a trigger for being able to power stuff. An optical option there. You've got the network cable and the power plug there with a toggle switch. So you do have some ability to integrate streamer and you know, other things of that nature. You don't have to be stuck with just the internals of this unit, although, you know, I think it kind of defeats the purpose of an active speaker, but you've got some options here. Okay, so here is the glory of these speakers. Look at this. I told you could remove everything from between these speakers, and when you do so, the way that your soundstage gains space, expansiousness, detail, focus, it is absurd when you get the stuff out of the middle of those speakers. form factor of all form factors, and all you need here is 2 power cables, 1 for each speaker, and an Ethernet cable, and you are donezo. Absolutely glorious, man. And here's the difference of the speakers that we talked about. We talked about the Emmett 50, the EVOKE 50, and the Focus 50 from left to right there. They look very similar, but these drivers are upgraded as you move through. You've got better parts, better components, better cabinetry, better crossovers every time you move up this tier, finally to that Focus 50 being the full sealed system and just top shelf. All right, so let's get into kind of the sound of these things and the performance. I just ran you guys through the towers. If you haven't watched the review of the Emmett 50s or the EVOKE 50s, please go check those out. They talk about kind of as we move up this tier. So one of the things that we've pointed out that's really important is that this is a fully sealed system. It is all the Dynaudio Pro grade components from kind of their Pro line. You get ultimate synergy here, and then just an absolute performance monster. So moving up from the EVOKE 50s and doubling the cost, but being able to eliminate all the gear, what do we get? We get what Dynaudio intended for us to hear and experience with their speakers. With the EVOKE 50 and the Emmett 50 passive speakers, you know, you kind of pair it with your gear and you kind of tailor it to yourself and you kind of make it your own. But if you really don't want to mess with any of that and you just want exactly what Dynaudio intended, and it is fantastic, then this is really a good option for you. The bass is second to none. The mid-range, the balance, the vocals, the highs, the transients, the dynamic ability of this speaker. As you move up through the Emmett 50, EVOKE 50 to the Focus 50, you gain huge steps in refinement and transparency and clarity and performance overall. Every step you get tighter, more accurate, more detailed bass that places and sound stages well. Image is great. Your vocals, your mid-range, all of the presence and breath and life and realness increase as you move up through these tiers. You know, when you get up to the treble range, you know, you start to really gain some ultra resolution when you get into this Focus 50. And we're going to do a review kind of fully on the EVOKE 50 with $5,500 of tailored gear to the Focus 50 and their system. I'll give you a little sneak peek. We put a lot of stuff with it, and we came really, really close to the Focus 50, and we made some amazing setups that we'll dive in deeper in our next review. But at the end of the day, we couldn't match the Focus 50's performance. We just couldn't quite get there in our experience. And I tell you what, man, that Focus 50, I am hard pressed not to just say, hey, let me keep these things. I'll send you a check, and this is going to be my final system right here. The experience of, I talked about a little bit ago, the experience of moving all of that stuff out from the middle of your speakers, what it does to the depth and size and vastness, clarity, layering of that soundstage is noticeable instantly. So one of the things that back when I first got the Emmett 50s, I moved from just a small rack, kind of like what I have behind me, to like a big credenza, because I thought that it would be really cool to have a credenza in between the speakers and be able to kind of have all my gear spread out. But one of the things that happened is my soundstage to some extent got collapsed and kind of dissolved a little bit, and it was really a bummer. I ended up getting rid of the credenza. I paid like $2,000 for the thing and went back just to a rack. And then we even set up the Focus 50 with the rack still there. I have some pictures of it. And it was fantastic. But when we took that rack out of there and got rid of all that stuff in the middle, and it was just the room treatment and the speakers set up perfectly, man, it was absolutely bonkers, man. It was so good. So that's kind of the sound and the performance differences as you kind of move up through that tier. I would have no regrets saving all of the hassle of and struggle and stress of matching components and all of just this churning thing that we have to do as audiophiles for this set it and forget it. Let's get into some of the specifics about this guy and some of the options that it's going to come with that you want to know about. Okay, so one of the really cool things about this active speaker is it's got internal DSP, you can run the full suite of DiRac on this thing. So all of your DiRac Live and everything, your digital sound processing is going to be available to you. It has a standalone app that lets you control things like your roll off and whether you want it to be kind of a brighter presentation or a neutral presentation or a warmer presentation. So it has all these really cool presets that you can do. Like I said, the DiRac suite, it's just so versatile. Some of the cool things that I really like, let's just go through some of the specs that we kind of talked about. It's got the 2 RCA analog inputs, the Toslink, the trigger, let's see, up to 24, the wireless internal speaker connection, so you can connect these things. Just wirelessly, you can run 2496, I believe. Your wired connection, if you actually connect the speakers, jumps you to that 24192. So even through the wireless communication, you can get full high-res Bluetooth 4.2. The cool thing about this is it's basically tri-amped, so you have beautiful pro grade Class D amplification in here. You got a 280 watt amp for the woofers. You got a 280 watt amp for the mid ranges, and you've got a 110 watt amp for the tweeters. So it's tri-amp structure. Let's see what else. And you can go to their website and see all this stuff. They talk about the different things, but one of the cool things, and when we ran that DiRac, I kept mine just on the neutral setting. When you open up the Dynaudio app, it's basically standalone. It'll even support where was it? Rune. The Rune connectivity was like bam, instant. It just picked it right up, boom. That's how I ran it. AirPlay 2, Chromecast, Tidal Connect. I did use Tidal Connect on it, worked great. Spotify Connect, we used Spotify, it worked great. Also your QPlay and your UPnP. So a host of ways to integrate, adjust, tune, using your DiRac Live to run the full array of sweeps. Now you will have to buy, I think it's a couple $100 to get the full suite, so you can run the 20 hertz to 20k hertz on that thing, which you're going to want to do. We used it. I really liked the results. Although it wasn't dependent on it. Now don't get in a crutch with this DiRac Live and this DSP. Don't use it as a substitute for proper setup. We took a lot of time. We had Dynaudio actually out to the house, and they helped us kind of set these speakers up. And we worked through it just by ear, and we got really, really nice sound and results without even using the DiRac. And so much so that when we ended up running the DiRac suite, it changed it. It gave it a little bit more focus and cohesion to the soundstage, but both of them were fantastic. So don't use this DiRac as a crutch. If you've got some issues in your room and you just can't get around them, that's where kind of this DiRac comes in and some of these digital sound processing adjustments. So in a nutshell, that is the Focus 50. Fantastic speaker. Get out of the box, think outside of the box, throw the boxes in the bin, get rid of all your cables. You can have pro level, hi-fi, high-end audiophile grade sound and performance and not have to mess with anything and still have all of the adjustments internal. Absolutely fantastic speaker. Please check out the Focus 50 if you are considering an active speaker, if you want to get away from all that stuff. Don't act like you don't have $11,000 worth of gear. Everybody's like, oh my God, $11,000. It's like, well, yeah, but if you take your amp, your preamp, your DAC, your streamer, all your cables, your speakers, your rack, everything that you have in your room or in your house, you could easily get up to $11,000 for an entire system. So this isn't something like, oh, that's just high-end audiophile grade stuff, overpriced or whatever. You got to keep it in context that you are getting an entire system that is so hi-fi. It is really impressive for $11,000 total. So anyway, hope you guys appreciated this review. It was so awesome. Thanks to Dynaudio and John Q for coming out and hanging out with us and sending all of these speakers. We're going to have much more on Dynaudio coming up. We're going to get some of their subwoofers in for review. We're actually going to do a full review on all of the gear that we use to do the shootout between the two speakers and get into that. So stay tuned for that. And let us know your thoughts. What would you like to see us review? What Dynaudio speakers do you have and love? Tell us your story in the comments. And don't forget, we are the world's only 100% nonprofit charity reviewer. 100% of our proceeds go to youth musical programs, focus on mentorship through musical creation. Over $5,000 donated in 2023, and we're already doing some great work this year. So appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic day. I'm James, your ABX audiophile, and we'll see you on the next one.